This is KAZU, Pacific Grove, California, July the 6th, 1987. The news accounts this week were filled with stories about the martial law plan that Reagan had, and I'm going over that article. The article's titled North and the Secret Government, Martial Law Plan Among the Work of Reagan Advisors. The date is July the 5th, 1987. It's written by Alfonso Chardi. It was published in the Miami Herald and San Jose Mercury. And this goes into Reagan and some documents that have existed for a long time. The article continues, the Constitution would be suspended. Control of the government would go to the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Appointed military commanders would run the state and local governments. Martial law would be declared in the event of nuclear war, violent or widespread internal dissent, or if there was a national opposition to a U.S. military invasion abroad.
Colonel North, in your work at the NSC, were you not assigned at one time to work on plans for the continuity of government in the event of a major disaster?
Mr. Chairman.
I believe that question touches upon a highly sensitive and classified area, so may I request that you not touch upon that, sir.
I was particularly concerned, Mr. Chairman, because I read in Miami papers and several others that there had been a plan developed by that same agency, a contingency plan in the event of emergency that would suspend the American Constitution. And I was deeply concerned about it and wondered if that was the area in which he had worked. I believe that it was,
may I most respectfully request that that matter not be touched upon at this stage. If we wish to get into this, I'm certain arrangements can be made for an executive session.
And tragically, the only member who got close was Jack Brooks, and he was stopped by the chairman. But the truth of the matter is that, yes, you do have those standby provisions, and the plans are there, and the statutory emergency plans are there.
Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North had been running an assassination squad right out of his White House office. There are even allegations that he had been tasked with drawing up plans to suspend the U.S. Constitution and declare martial law in the event the massive drug smuggling taking place ever came to public light.
A national security situation at the time of war where if we criticized him or his friends, we would be aiding and abetting the enemy. And of course, when Reagan came in, the very first National Security Council meeting involved Libya and it involved Iran, and he had on his mind going into Nicaragua and putting the Somozans back in power. The article says Colonel Oliver North's proposal and involvement was a proposal to radically alter American government by executive order in a time of crisis. And it is evidence he was involved in a wide range of secret foreign affairs, domestic affairs, far beyond the Iran-Contra affair. Life magazine has an interview with his wife, Betsy. Don't you understand what communism is? He's a patriot, he's a Christian, and everybody should be behind him. She doesn't balance, and neither does Life magazine, the next issue, the fact that he wanted to alter the American government and erase the Constitution. This is his version of Americanism to put us in a position like Korea or the Philippines under Marcos or under Pinochet in Chile.
In Guts and Glory, The Rise and Fall of Oliver North, author Ben Bradley Jr. writes, North's work for FEMA from 1982 to the spring of 1984 was highly classified and some would say bizarre. He was involved in helping to draft a sweeping contingency plan to impose martial law in the event of a nuclear war or less serious national crises such as widespread internal dissent or opposition to an American military invasion abroad, unquote.
All the guys that violated the law, that ignored congressional sanctions on Iran-Contra, they're all in power. And George Bush, a guy who never succeeded at anything and is certainly not succeeding at this presidency, a guy who stole 2 elections, who has committed at least 10 different impeachable offenses, he's president of the United States.
When it comes, killing for Oliver North apparently had a real preoccupation with drugs in the 1980s. No, he wasn't using them, but there's been a lot of talk that he was selling them to fund the war in Nicaragua.
Even Gorbanifar knew that you were supporting the Contras.
Yes, he did. Izvestia knew it. The name had been in the papers in Moscow. It had been all over Danny Ortega's newscast. Radio Havana was broadcasting it. It was in every newspaper in the land.
All our enemies knew it, and you wanted to conceal it from the United States Congress.
We wanted to be able to deny a covert operation.
You have a private network run by George Bush and Ollie North, not the CIA. You won't find the records in the CIA. They're not there. They're in these privatized intelligence agencies.